The Indiana Pacers have made an amazing acquisition today, and in turn with that, I now have just more questions and more frustrations with the Sacramento Kings front office. This is after the Tyrese Haliburton trade that has sent him to the Indiana Pacers alongside Buddy Hield and Tristan Thompson. And for the Sacramento Kings, they will be acquiring Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. Essentially, Tyrese Haliburton for Domantas Sabonis with some depth pieces that are just helping to match the contracts after that, neither of which on either side are probably going to be long-term pieces that are going to impact the roster, other than maybe Justin Holiday and Buddy Hield could be around for a couple of years for the Pacers. But Tyrese for Sabonis. Now, don't get me wrong, Sabonis is a great player. It fits a role that Sacramento need. They don't have a good power forward. He can slot in along with Sean Holmes now, be that four guy like he was a four alongside Miles Turner, and that gives them some wing depth. Now, they also have Justin Holiday now, so they have wings now on this team. Even if they trade away Harrison Barnes, they do have some wings. But here's my problem with them getting Domantas Sabonis. One, you're giving up Tyrese Haliburton, who I think has absurdly high upside, is going to be the best point guard that they had on that team. But they now seem committed to De'Aaron Fox long term, which is fine. I like De'Aaron Fox. I still think he's a very good young point guard. But Tyrese Haliburton, his upside is so good. His playmaking, his mid range ability, he just has the ability to be so much of a more complete team oriented playmaking point guard that can raise the ceiling of an offense more than De'Aaron Fox can, as far as I'm concerned. De'Aaron Fox is still really good, and I think he can be still a borderline all star caliber player for the majority of his career. But I don't think he's Tyrese Haliburton levels once they get to their prime. Secondly, Domantas Sabonis is playing power forward now. That's been the problem that the Pacers have had, or a problem that has been talked about a lot with the Pacers over the last couple of years, is that Sabonis is playing alongside another big in Miles Turner. And now it's going to happen again. They just locked up Rashawn Holmes. He's their starting center. I can't imagine that's going to change. So again, he's going to be playing at the power forward spot, and they're going to have to figure that out. It's going to be little spacing. I don't love that. I don't love that. I like Sabonis as a player, but him at the four alongside another big, especially now who can't space the floor anywhere near as good as Miles Turner is going to be interesting because Sabonis is not a 3-point shooter. He can shoot them and does, but he's not a great 3-point shooter in terms of efficiency. That's just not his game. He needs to be in and around the paint, and it worked okay in Indiana on offense because Turner could space the floor. Rashawn's not sending it out on the 3-point line. And defensively, well, that's just not great either because we know that Sabonis is not an amazing defender at either position. But I don't love it. I don't love that fit. And three, Sabonis is a really good player, but his value to me personally doesn't reflect his skill. And that's no knock on Sabonis. That's just how the NBA game is played right now. He's a very good rebounder. He's a very good post scorer. He's very good with the ball in his hands and a very good playmaker. But ultimately, he is best with the ball in his hands as far as I'm concerned with how good of a playmaker he is and how well he can create offense for others. Problem being, Sabonis as a guy who has the ball a lot in his hands as a primary option isn't a situation that's going to lead you to be a top tier team. Because Sabonis is a borderline all star player, but a borderline all star player leading you as your primary guy on offense a majority of the time isn't successful. And so that's when Sabonis is at his best, but that's not necessarily when a team is going to be at its best. And so Sacramento improve in the short term, I think, with this move because they get more wing depth, they get them onto Sabonis. This does help them in the short term, as far as I'm concerned, trying to get that playoff spot that they've been desperately wanting for a long time. And so, in that sense, sure, I can understand and appreciate the move. But long term, trading away Tyrese Haliburton for Domantas Sabonis, I'm not a fan. Maybe I'm just a lot higher on Tyrese Haliburton than a lot of people, but Tyrese has a ton of upside, can lead your team long term. Domantas Sabonis is not as young, is not a guard, and does not have that type of upside to lead a team long term. De'Aaron Fox is still there. He's going to be that guy now. But I would have taken Tyrese Haliburton over De'Aaron Fox and looked to move him unless the value just wasn't there and you weren't going to get that type of value for De'Aaron Fox. But either way, Losing Haliburton, that hurts. For the Pacers on the flip side, this is a nice move for them. I really like this for them. Their wing depth is going to be something they're going to have to figure out now, but Brogdon finally gets to play the two, which I've been advocating for a long time now. Malcolm Brogdon is a fine point guard, but in my eyes, he's still more naturally a two guard. He is a great shooter. He has improved a lot as a creator and a playmaker in his time in Indiana, but I still see him much more as a combo guard that is better at the two, can space the floor, can play off the ball more, can come off pin downs and hit some threes, and then be a secondary creator alongside Tyrese Haliburton. And I love that fit. I think that's going to be a really good backcourt now. They both have solid length. They're both going to have good defensive upside. Brogdon already being good there. I really like that backcourt fit. I think it's a nice mentorship for Tyrese Haliburton as well. Somebody can learn from Brogdon, who's a nice, good leader with a lot of NBA experience as well. I really like that for Indiana from how Haliburton can develop alongside Brogdon, how Brogdon can now fit in that offense playing more so at the two, and how Haliburton is just a stud. I really like what he's got going for him long term. He can be that guy that leads the Pacers moving forward. And finally, the biggest part of this, finally, they get rid of one of the two bigs. I've been advocating for what seems 2 years now. I was afraid it wasn't going to happen, but it did. Sabonis is gone. Turner's now going to be the sole five-man. He's going to flourish in this role. I know he's excited for it. He's been talking about it. He's been wanting it. He wants to put in that work and be this guy who puts up 18, 20 points a night, spaces the floor, but also gets more paint touches and post looks. I expect a big year next year for Miles Turner. I think him and Tyrese Haliburton are going to be an absurd duo when you're talking about pick and rolls, lob plays. I can't wait to see this duo. I think they have a nice future going ahead with them. Their wing depth is now what they have to figure out long term. CJ Warren hopefully comes back next year at some point, but and it seems like he's been out forever now. O'Shea Brissett is still around, but Holiday and Sabonis gone. That's what they need to figure out now. But I really like their guards. I really like Miles Turner and what he can do with Haliburton. I think the Pacers are moving in the right direction here. They got a first-round pick for LeVert. They're moving some pieces. They have Haliburton. Haliburton is that piece that you want to start off a rebuild. Most teams get picks. The Pacers now have Haliburton. Throw that in alongside already a couple of nice pieces. This could be a nice retool if they can add a couple of wings here and start to move around towards next season, because Tyrese Haliburton is the real deal. And I think the Pacers have just made an absolutely brilliant trade. Sacramento, they lost their best young piece they've had in a while. That is my thoughts on Tyrese Haliburton going to the Indiana Pacers and Sabonis heading the other way. Please let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.